Welcome to Factorio. My name is Niels, and this is a highlight from my Twitch series. So previously I did a recap, and I think I'm going to go away from the recap and more focus on highlights, because highlights emphasize that I'm, well, obviously highlighting the most interesting things, while a recap is just going through things even if they're interesting or not. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to recap what... No, I'm not going to recap. I'm going to highlight something that we built on the Twitch base that's super awesome and maybe inspire you to do something differently in the future. So what we are dealing with is something that just takes a bit of time to get up and running. It is something you really only want to do at the very late stage of the game. It is direct train-to-train operations. So basically we are not using any belts. Well, technically we are using a few belts. The reason why I'm standing right here where I am now is because I have selected this train, which is almost empty, and you can see it as it's empty. We will see that we leave with the train. Come on, yes. So we have a train here. These trains are 2 locomotives and 16 wagons, and then they are double-headed, so they go in both directions. People have been saying like that's not enough locomotives, but we're up to 260 now. I actually think this is a decent speed, and I don't really know why we want more locomotives. So what happens is we are doing direct insertion here. So we have a mining field that automatically the train comes in to this location, and I'll explain how it works. There's a limit of 1, so the train comes in and that gets filled up for only the first 8 wagons. And during the streams I have had numerous questions about why are you not doing it on both sides. So if you want to build a megabase, like a really big megabase that I want to do, like 16,000 science per second, okay, maybe not second, but every minute, so 1 million per hour, then what you need to do is make sure you have as few active entities at a time. And this way I now only have 16 active entities plus the train, of course, and those are the ones that are active right now. If I had miners on both sides, I would actually not be faster, because look at this speed here. They all have exactly the same speed. They're working at 3.25 speed, so that's plus 550 speed. That means they're mining pretty quickly. I don't have a lot of mining productivity. I would only recommend this generally when you're in the 30s or 40s or 50s in terms of mining productivity, but we're going to set it up now so we don't need to change it later. What happens when this one gets full? This one will fill up until 16. When it is at 16, it'll move forward to the next station and then start loading into the last ones. One of the really key points that I've heard sort of arguments against this, and I completely concede that point, is when they run out. Yes, when they run out, it sucks. And this one is the one that's going to run out first. That's how we designed it. This has 349,000, but with a bit of mining productivity, it's also 150 mining productivity. It's going to last a while. But what I have done though, I have set this one up to a signal that goes in here, monitors how much is only on this one, and then wires that back here, and then the train, as long as it gets anything inbound, it'll be open station. So that means when this one runs out, this station will close. And I'm going to do it for the other ones as well. This one is probably the one that runs out first, 101. And now we can see the train, as it has filled up to 16,000, it moves one tile forward, and then we have it filling up on the last bits of the train. So once that is something I am super happy about, and one of the another argument against this is, well, what about the rest of this operation? You're not using the rest of the mine. You're only using filling up 3 trains. Yes, it's totally correct. I'm completely agreeing with that. But, well, then you just need to find an extra one, and then you're good. Space is not really something that takes a lot of activity. Yes, when you have reactor radars and such, but that's just how we are going to do it. But it means that I can tap all of these materials pretty simply by doing this. It's a completely repeatable, so once you build one, you just stamp down more of them. In this case, I chose to have one of them just slide over a bit, otherwise it wouldn't be possible to. That one is just sliding over a bit because there's kind of a limit here. What you will see is that I am going to, I am on the train. Yes, I am. So let's look at it when it goes back again. So you can see it doesn't fill up like as fast as it potentially could. As the mining productivity increases, it's going to fill up faster, and we're going to use sort of proportionally less here of the raw materials, but it's still going to last for many, many hours, and it will self-close. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 7, 3 plus 4. So I have 7 locations for copper going inbound. That is certainly enough for what I need it for. What this one is feeding, I have it for iron. Let me just see how close it is. I have it for copper and I have it for iron as well. Iron here. And we also have some more iron here. So we have 8 for iron and 7 for copper. And they are going in, and this is what the next thing we're going to do. They are simply feeding a setup for red signs that can do a total of 10,000 signs per minute. Damn it, 10,000 signs per minute, but I'm only throttling it on the consumption side to only, I love how saying it only consuming 8,333 signs per minute, or more accurately 500,000 signs per hour. We are now leaving this station. All of this, as you could see, was fully automated. That's why I wanted to run this, so that you could see that it runs completely automated, and it itself changes from the first part to the second part of the station. I think that's a pretty genius way of doing it. What happens now is that it goes into the buffer, the stacker, where it will wait, and where it will do then from here. We're going to go take a look at that as well, and this will be going into 1, 2, 3, 4 locations, each of those feeding into a very advanced setup, I'd say so myself. This one is affected by 12 beacons, so you cannot make it better than this. 12 beacons is what we have, and the way it works is kind of weird. So one thing that you have to keep in mind of is that even though this one is having 12 beacons, it's not actually particularly fast. So this one will do per second, it'll do 5 outbound per second when it is fully operational, and it's obviously not operational because I have overscaled it by a lot. But when one comes in here, then you can see from this one, it'll only pick up, it'll put it into a underground belt. Forget this underground belt, is much better to look at it from this location. The issue is that if you look at the lines between the trains, they have to be even numbers, because when you build a train like this, they only jump in 2 tiles. So that means when you have something in the middle that is 3 by 3 tiles, you will invariably have a mismatch somewhere. And that's the mismatch we have here. So the ways to fix it is either use a size 2 buffer. That can be a car, which is not something I want to do. I don't want to put cars in here. Alternatively, it can be long-hand inserters, but we were kind of strained on the fact that long-hand inserters were not fast enough. So this ingenious solution means that the output from this one and the output from this one are going in on a belt that will then, from this location, just simply go over here and be picked up into the box that will just store. Doesn't actually need to store this much. And when the train comes in, it can then be unloaded with a box-to-box with a stack inserter, which is like, I don't know, 26 per second. So easily more than enough to take the 5 plus 5 and remove it. So there's no bottlenecks in this. In this case, well, the bottleneck is the fact that the consumption is low. But this allows me to have 3 trains here of 216 with plates coming in here. And they're just waiting right here to go in. And the reason why I'm keeping them at these positions is because I want to make sure that a train coming from the side, from the consumption side, can actually go back in here. Likewise, we have the same for iron. You might think it looks a bit haphazard that they're sort of waiting out here, halfway out on the line, but there's nothing, this one is not blocking anything. So why not park it here when it's outbound? You can see this is reaching a pretty stable state. Oh, there's another train going out. Can I just kill myself during a tutorial? Oh, there we go. Actually, no, I'm going to look at this one. You can see how close this is to coming in. Now comes in, and we should see some action. While it's actually working, you can see it's still processing all the stuff in this box. This box is limited, could be limited actually with a bit more. I think actually we saw it just run out just while the trains were going in and out. So maybe 2 boxes instead. What happens here is, again, it takes it out on this box. It moves onto the underground over here, fills up this one, fills up that one. This one is getting the other one. So you will have to make sure that the trains, if you want 3 trains outbound, you need 4 trains inbound. It works okay. That means the outer trains are going to be consumed at half the normal rate. But again, everything is self-balancing because they will just go, the schedules for these trains are basically going, let's see, here where they are unloading. This is red signs because I have dedicated iron and copper mining for each signs. That's my intention for this base, so that I have absolutely no crossing path for big trains. That's one of the hard constraints that so far I'm gonna respect. No crossing of tracks at all, except all this. But that's actually not crossing of tracks. But that's why I'm also making them double-headed. And there we go, another train coming in. Now we can see the loading of a train in here, and you can see how easily this one can keep up. It'll be unloaded faster. It's going out here. This one is the loading speed, and you can see the loading speed is going by the 12, 12, 12, 12, because it's just unloading this box. And this one is not going to be as fast because it's picking up from a moving belt. However, it's still going to be fast enough to keep this one flowing. This one, you saw that it was stuck at 100, and it is now slowly going down. So what we can see is definitely that it is able to export the 5 per second that this one is crafting. That can easily be exported and easily be put in here, and that can easily be put in here. So there's no bottleneck constraints inside these builds, which is absolutely essential. Right, so the schedules. We were looking at schedules, but then I saw the train coming in. So let's see. This schedule here for the mining, it goes into the unloader, then it goes back to the first half of load and the second half of load. Each of these stations are, as I had mentioned, they have a limit of 1. And that's how I make sure that once it allocates to one of these, it won't allocate to any of the other ones. And once it is going here, then it goes from here to a second one. That's actually the first I was worried that it would sort of start pathing from this one to that one, like hypothetically. But the thing is, it cannot even see this one because it can only move forward and reach this, or move backwards and then it can only see this station. So it cannot see any of the wrong stations. So when it gets to the first half of loading, it can only see the second half of loading. So that cannot go wrong. Wow, that's a very confident statement. So it goes to loading 1, loading 2, and then it comes back to the stacker. The stacker here serves a purpose. It goes in and fills here. But I have this stacker here because I am constraining these stations. If I recall correctly, I am constraining these by also having a train limit of 1. That meant that if I did not have the stacker here, they would actually get stuck waiting at the loading station because all of the 4 inbound stations are full. Instead, I'm having them actually go in here. Let's see. Yes, they're going to the stacker, and then they'll be waiting at this stop. The first one will go all the way forward, so it can very quickly go in here. And you will also see that as soon as this train is leaving, it just goes out here. But when one of these trains are leaving, you can see that the next one will actually already get in here. So that's basically a highlight of what we've done. It has taken a tremendous amount of time to design it, build it, but now it is actually fully up and running, and it's something that we have operational, which we'll be using for all the designs moving forward, or all the smelting moving forward. We've also made a design for steel that functions the same way. And this is something I probably should do a masterclass on at some point, now that we have some experience about how to do it. I'm super happy about it, and I think it works really well. I can see that one of these stations are actually out. Why is this closed? Because this one has run out of power. So now I'm filling up this one, but it's never going to get full because one of these stations is unlocked. No, it is going to get full, but it will never come back to this one again. So it went here. It now is now it's closed. So when this one is full, you can see that all of this is idle, but it's filling up this one. This is still working because it now has to work at twice the speed. So you can see here, this is 1.6 and the other ones are 2.0. So when this one gets all the way up to 2.0, this train will leave and it will never come back to this location again. It'll choose some of the other ones because now this is closed. Works brilliantly. All right, I hope you enjoyed this highlight. So instead of just recapping what we did, I'm highlighting the stuff that we did and the stuff where we found some really cool new solutions. And I can tell you, there's been a lot of iterations back and forth and sort of small, minute problems that had to be solved here. So I hope you have enjoyed this little highlight. This is how I'm going to summarize the Let's Play running on Twitch in the future, so we can have something really cool to look at and showcase here on YouTube. And that means if you want to be part of the design and innovative process of coming up with new and cool designs, then of course that's over on Twitch. I'm streaming at twitch.tv/Nilaus. It's Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays. I'm streaming Factorio, and that is at 8 p.m. Central European Time. If you are unable to join at those times, I also have a VOD channel, and there should be a link in the description below with a link to the VOD channel so you can catch the VODs after the stream has ended. I hope to see you either here on YouTube, on Discord maybe, or maybe on the live streams. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay effective.